It is that time of the month where we talk real estate. We break down the numbers, and our guy to do it is Stephen DeLisle with DeLisle Properties. Stephen, you have us in one of your listings here today. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. It's a beautiful one. But first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And we always start with a look at the numbers and how they relate to someone that's thinking about buying or selling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
These numbers are always given to us by the Greater Greenville Association of Realtors. And if you look at the new listing slide, it'll show us that we're up 12.5% in new listings on the market this year as opposed to last year. Now, if you look at the average price slide, it'll show us we're up 5% here as well, which also translates to the average price being just over $392,000. And the inventory slide is also up 45.9% as well, which translates to 4.6 months. On the segment last month, we saw that those numbers were 4.3, and previous to that was 4. So we are gaining inventory in Greenville. However, it is helpful to know that it really boots on the ground for me showing houses. It really just translates to a buyer and what their needs are in a given zip code. We went from like maybe 3-4 options to maybe 8, 9, 10. So it is, to me, a more healthy market.
Yeah, I would say that's healthy, especially for someone that wants to have a variety of homes that they're looking at. So yeah, it's good to be able to see that the inventory is there for that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of inventory, we are in a home right in Simpsonville. And as I was driving into this neighborhood, I was like, this seems like a good family neighborhood, good entertaining, great backyard.
Yes. They're all larger too. So the address on this one is 2 Stony Run Lane, Simpsonville 29681, not 29680. So a couple things I'll touch on with this one. First of all, it's over 3,600 square feet, 5 bedrooms. 5, because that's very hard to find in this zip code and this school district. You have the master downstairs, you've got a bonus room upstairs, it's a corner fenced in lot, full irrigation in the entire yard. You've got a chef's kitchen behind us. You have a large island right behind us as well that overlooks the living space. And as we go outside, we also have a sunroom that walks out to a pool that's just about 1.5 years old. So not only do you have the space for a pool to enjoy that space, but you also have enough room to throw the football. And the school district here is also going to be Bells Crossing Elementary. You've got Riverside Middle and Malden High School. So I'm not really sure what else you would want out of a house.
I mean, a lot of amenities right here. And like I said, the summer weather that we're having, that backyard is going to get a lot of use with the grill.
Oh yeah, I'm going to live in that pool.
In the pool, right?
Yep.
So definitely come and check that out. They can find that full listing at DeLisleProperties.com.
Yep, under our featured listing.
Yep. You can always take a look through the slides as well.
Yep.
One of the things people are always talking about, the stock market, the S&P 500. We're hearing a lot about that. What can you tell us about some of the things that you're hearing?
Yeah, so it's a good question. A lot of my buyers and sellers are asking me that question right now, and it's helpful to know that the S&P 500 is not directly related to the interest rate you would receive. However, it is a very good indicator on the sentiment in the market, what the investors feel, good or bad. So if the stock market's doing good, for example, then these investors will take their assets out of the mortgage-backed securities. You may have heard them be called or referenced to as bonds, more secured notes, and they would put them in the stock market. Adversely, if the stock market's not doing too well, they'll take them out of there and put them in mortgage-backed securities. A lot of people look at this for the leading and lagging indicators of what's going on in the market for rates. However, I would encourage you to look at what the Fed look at to indicate what the interest rates are going to do in the future. Those two things are going to be inflation numbers and the 10-year treasury yield. These two things work in tandem. So if the inflation numbers go up, so does the 10-year treasury yield. That's what the investors are going to be looking at. A real-world example of this is going to be just last week, the inflation numbers were slated to be 2.5. They came in at 2.4, so that's why we saw a direct result on the interest rates going down slightly last week.
It's always good to be able to take all this information that folks probably have very specific questions about and giving them an overview of what they're actually looking at. And of course, if they have some specific questions about a specific situation, they can contact you directly for that.
And look, guys, if you're not a numbers person, these things matter when hiring an agent, so we can kind of dig through what that looks like for your goals.
Yeah, so definitely give them a call if you're wanting to kind of discuss some of those and see how it relates to your specific situation. We always like to leave folks with a little bit of advice. What advice would you give them from DeLisle Properties?
I would say my advice right now is that we're trending at 5% appreciation right now, like we just showed you. If we continue on this trend, we're going to appreciate in Greenville and the upstate at 12%. Why that matters to you as a buyer and a seller? First of all, a buyer, the house that you're going to purchase right now at 5% increasing value is not going to really change. There's not going to be a lot of upgrades to that specific house. If you wait till the end of the year, it's just going to be 12% more. Why that matters for you as a seller is that it's going to continue to appreciate in Greenville. These are the trends, the leading and lagging indicators of the market. So if you're going to move up, for example, sell your $300,000 house and buy a $500,000 house, the 12% that you're going to realize is just that much more. So if you want a further detailed report on what the market's doing, we just kind of referenced 2, 3, maybe 4 items, but we have a 19-page spreadsheet on what the market's doing, so we can deep dive on that and figure out what that looks like for your specific goals.
Yeah, 19-page spreadsheet. You're going to get something that you can find useful, right?
Yeah.
And of course, again, if you want to check out this featured listing, you can always head over to DeLisleProperties.com. Give Stephen and his team a call if you're thinking about buying and selling in this real estate market. Stephen, thank you. Always
Thank you
good
so
to
much.
see you.
Appreciate it.